Let us look at this question on the construction of an ellipse. This is a WAEC question. I'm going to read the question because I have it on my phone. Then we go on and look at how we can solve this problem. So the question says an ellipse has a major axis 120 long and its foci are 80 apart. Question A Roman figure 1 says construct the ellipse. Question A Roman figure 2 says measure and state the length of the minor axis. Question B says draw a tangent and normal to the curve at a point P above the major axis and 35 to the right of the minor axis. Let me read the question again. An ellipse has a major axis 120 long and its foci are 80 apart. Question A Roman figure 1 says construct the ellipse. Question Roman figure 2 measure and state the length of the minor axis. Question B draw a tangent and normal to the curve at a point P above the major axis and 35 to the right of the minor axis. Let's go and see how this construction can be done. So what we are to do first here is that we are to draw a horizontal center line. So horizontal center line. So from here, so we have a horizontal center line, and then we are going to draw a vertical center line here. So a vertical center line. So we draw a vertical center line here like this. So here we have the vertical center line. The next thing that we are going to do is that we are going to take a measurement on this horizontal center line. So I'm going to call this point where the two lines intersect. I'll call it point O. So this is point O here. Okay. So then I'm going to take a measurement of 60 millimeters. So from this point O, 60 millimeters to the left side. That means we are dividing the major axis 120 by 2, which will give us 60 millimeters. So we take 60 millimeters to the left side like this, okay? Then we take 60 millimeters from this point O. We take 60 millimeters to the right side. So here we have a point here, okay, 60 millimeters away from point O. So we are going to label this point as point A. So we call this point A, and this point here we call it point B, okay? So AB is 120 millimeters, which is the major axis that we are given. Now, the question says the foci of the ellipse are 80 millimeters apart. That 80 millimeters we divide it by 2, that is 40 millimeters. So we take a measurement of 40 millimeters on the ruler with the compass. So here we have 40 millimeters. So I can just take it directly by measuring, okay? So we take it like this. So put the pin or the compass at point O here, okay? Then make an arc on this line and make an arc on this line, okay? So at this point we have F1. So this point is F1 and this point is F2. So distance F1, F2 is that 80 millimeters that we are given a distance between the foci. All right, so now let's look at the next thing that we are to do. We are to determine the length of the minor axis, okay? We have to determine the length of the minor axis CD. So what we have to do in that case is that we are going to take half of the major axis, which is 60 millimeters, which is OA or OB, okay? So let's take OB, so that is 60 millimeters, which is half of the major axis that we are given. So we take OB, this is 60 millimeters as we have it here. So then raise it up like this. Put the pin at point F here. Put the pin at point F1 or F2. So make an arc on this line up here and make an arc on this line down here. So here we have this point to be point D. Okay. So up here we have point C. So distance CD is the minor axis. Distance CD is the minor axis. Now, let's look at the next thing that we are to do. So we want to construct the ellipse right now. So what we are to do is that we are going to divide distance OF1 and OF2 into a number of equal parts. So I want to divide into 4 equal parts. That is what I want to do. So we have to come to this point and then we draw a line in this direction. And then we come to this point here again. So at this point, we also draw a line in this direction. So then, as I'm dividing into 4 equal parts, I have to make 4 equal distances or 4 equal division on this line. So I will take 10 millimeters each from this point O here. I have this to be 10 millimeters 1. This is 2. This is 3. And then I have this to be 4. Okay. So I have this. And then coming here, I'll do the same thing by what? Taking 10 millimeters each. This is 1. This is 2. I have this to be 3. And then this is 4. So 10 millimeters each. Okay, so then the next thing that I'm going to do is that I'm joining the last division. I'm joining it to point F3 here, so for this side, and then I will set my set square along this line. So let me set this one along this line like this, and then put the set square under it, or you have a ruler, use your ruler. Then I shift to the next point. So I will draw this line to touch this line, and then draw from here at this point. So we also draw from here to touch this. Then I'll move to this point, and then I will draw this line. Then on this side, I will also join the last one here, join it to point F1, and then set the set square along the line and put the ruler on under it like this. And then I will shift the set square to the next point, and then I will draw this line. Okay, then come to this point here. I will draw the line from here. Okay, then so draw from this point, and then I will draw. So we have this now. All right, so now, so with what we have here, so I need to connect these two lines together. Okay, so now, so we are going to number this point as point 1. Okay, this point will be point 2. This point is point 3. So I don't have to number this because this is point F1 already. Then I'll number this as 1 prime. So this one is 2 prime. This is 3 prime. So we have this now. All right, let's look at the next thing that we are to do for the construction of this ellipse. So we take the compass. Put the pin at point A here. You can make use of B. Okay, you can make use of B because I am using left hand. So that's why I make use of point A. So you can make use of point A as point B as we have it here. So put the pin at point A here and extend the pen point to 1 prime on the right side like this. Okay, so raise it up like this. Okay, after taking distance A1 prime, so put the pinpoint at F1 here. So make an arc up and down like this. Okay, then with the same radius, so put it at F2 here, and then draw an arc up. So draw an arc down here, then come back to this A and then extend to 2 prime on the right side. Extend it to 2 prime on the right side like this. Okay, then raise up, put it at F1 here, put the pin at F1, draw an arc up, and then draw an arc down here. Then with the same radius, put the pin at F2, draw an arc up, and then draw an arc down. Then put the pin again at point A and then extend the pen point to 3 prime. Extend the pen point to 3 prime, raised up, put the pin at F1 and then draw an arc up, draw an arc down. Then with the same radius, put it at F2 here. Put it at F2, so draw an arc up and down. So we have made use of all the distances that we have here on the right side. Now, so we now take the compass again. So put the pin at point A here, put the pin at point A and extend the pen point to 1 on the left side here. Extend the pen point to 1 on the left side and then reach up like this. Put the pin at F1 and then make an arc on this first arc. Make it down here on the first arc. So bring it to this side, put it at F2. Okay, so make an arc on the first arc, make an arc down here on the first arc. Then take it back to point A and then so take it to 2 on the left side as we have it here. So raise it up like this. So put the pin at F1, make an arc on the second arc up, make an arc on the second arc down. Then take it with the same radius, put it at F2. Then make an arc on the second arc up, make an arc on the second arc down here. All right, so then the next thing is put it at A again, take it to 3. So take it to 3 on the left side as I'm doing it here. So raise it up like this. Put the pin at F1 and make an arc on the third arc up. Make an arc on the third arc down. Then take it to F2 with the same radius. So put the pin at F2. So make an arc on the third arc up. Make an arc on the third arc down. So we have this point. Okay, so this point, so at the point that we are going to join together, including point B here. Okay, so we have this point. Then we have this point. We have this point. So point C is part of it. And then we have this point. So we have this point here. So this point, and then we have this point here. So here we have this point. So here we have this point. Here we have this point. So here we have this point here. So we have this point. We have this point. Okay, so everything will be connected together. So now we have to pick our French curve. So pick the French curve. So we are picking the French curve for us to connect the point together. So with the French curve, I'm going to connect this point together. So with the French curve, so I'm starting from here. So set the French curve on the point like this. So adjust the points. Okay, so adjust the French curve. So for you to have the point arranged on the edge of the French curve like this. Okay, so everything here connected with point C as I have it here. And then so coming down like this, so I will set it here. Okay, so set like this. So connecting these points. Okay, so connecting this point together to point D. So we have this. Okay. All right, so then I will set on this side here. So setting the French curve like this, and then I will draw this line. So draw this curve like this, and then I will set the French curve like this. Set the French curve like this, and then I will all right, so here I have the curve. So I have the curve like this, as you can see it here. Then the next thing that we are going to do is to answer question B. I've answered question A. Now we have question B. So question B says that we should draw a tangent and normal to a point P, which is on the curve, and it is above the major axis and 30 millimeters to the right of the minor axis. So I have to take 35 millimeters. So I will take a measurement of 35 millimeters from this point O here. I will take 35 millimeters to the right side. 35 millimeters to the right side. This is 35 millimeters. Okay, so from this point, I'm going to draw a vertical line. So I will draw a vertical line. So to touch this curve at this point. So here we have this point here. This is point P here. So here is point P. I have point P here. So I'm going to write P at this point here. So this is point P. All right, so having done that, the next thing that we are going to do is that we are going to connect point P with F1. We connect point P with F1 and we connect point P with F2. So distance P, F1, this the sum of distance PF1 and PF2 is equal to the major axis, which is 120. If you take that measurement, it will be 120. So now we are going to bisect the angle F1P and F2. We are going to bisect the angle. So we put the pin of the compass here at point P and extend the pen point with convenient radius. Draw this arc like this. Okay, so we have this. Then put the pin here at this point where the arc touches line PF1. So extend the pencil to the pen point to a convenient radius. Then draw an arc down here like this. Okay, so put the pin here at this point. Okay, then draw an arc here. So we have this. So then the next thing that we are going to do is that we are going to draw a line from the point of intersection of these arcs passing through point P. So this is what I mean. So it goes like this. So we draw like this. So it goes like this. Okay, so then we are going to make this line. So we are going to make this short line from this point to point P. We make it a thick line like this. So here we have this, okay? So I'm going to call this point, I'll call it point Q. So the normal is this line PQ is the normal. So to now draw a tangent to the curve, the angle between a normal and the curve, or a tangent and the curve, is 90 degrees. So we take the protractor and set it here on this line PQ. So make sure the line on 90 degree is on line PQ, and you can see a little part of point P like this. Okay, so just press this down and then draw this line through the point like this. All right, so we have the tangent. So this is the tangent to the curve. So here we have this point R, okay, and then we have this to be S. So the tangent is line RS, while the normal is line PQ. So we have answered the question, but we are asked to measure and state the distance of the length of the minor axis CD. So let's say this CD. So here we have CD here. Okay, so which is the minor axis. So the minor axis is CD. So all right, so I can't see this. So this is equal to, so let's take the measurement. So we take the measurement. So the length CD. So looking at this is 90 millimeters. So here we have this to be 90. So you write plus or minus 1, plus or minus 1. This is how we state measurement in technical drawing. So it's as simple as I've done it here. All you have to do is to practice. Thank you and God bless you.